You know what I was like during my glory days, do you?
All right, y'all ready?
Go ahead.
Mama. Marcus Molly whopped a mercenary with
Missile.
Munitions.
Welcome back, my babies, to another episode of the podcast formerly known as Tapped In, currently known as a podcast formerly known as Tapped In. We are recording live from the gates of hell. Marcus is sipping sake. Davon is still an unlocked character. My nigga's lurking inside of a volcano. Alex is he in the green room.
I'm off the Zaza. I'm off the mid.
You off the
Zaza?
Off the Zaza.
You off the runs. Hey. As always, we got our boy Marcus Murray, aka
It's Omega. What's good, man?
The Omega Wind God. What's good, Marcus? Talk your shit, baby.
I'm gonna talk my shit, man. You know, I'm here to talk Drake. I'm here to talk Invincible, and I'm here to talk my pinky ring. Y'all see that?
It's nice
with onyx in it. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Ask about me.
For the audio listeners, he just
and that's it. That's the pod. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 7, flawless.
Marcus, you are extraordinarily loud right now. What's going on?
Yay.
Did you change something?
Yay. I'm yelling.
Why is it's so
and you know what?
So loud.
Big shout out to Treasury Secretary of State Janet Yellen. You know what I mean? I'm yelling for her.
What'd she do?
What hasn't she done?
Up next, we got Alex.
Alex OG.
Young Green Room, aka the Butterfly Effect. What's good, Alex?
Call me Young Green Thumb.
Alex, what's up?
No. Call me Young Green Mile also. Call me the Green Goblin.
Green
That's
Goblin.
it. Duncan.
Yeah, that's what's up. All right. Up next, we got Davon. All right, y'all. We about to get into our first topic.
Oh, wait. Davon, he who resides by the fireside. Davon.
He doesn't want a long intro.
4-5 shotty to the body. And then we got Eric.
Dark Matter Daddy, you know.
Dark Matter Patty.
Residing in hell.
Eric
depths of hell,
Peg Boy Andrews.
Yo. Talk about it, Eric.
Stop.
Yo, Eric, talk about it, man.
Hey, man. All I gotta say, you know what I'm saying? Don't knock it till you try. You.
That's right.
All right, y'all. Let's hop into it. Today we are talking about Drake. What's he doing? I don't know what is he doing. What is this topic? I'm not too sure.
Who recommended this topic? Me, I guess. So the thing about Dogecoin is
we're
all right, let's talk about
Are we talking about Dogecoin?
No, we're talking about Drake. Drake, Billboard is gonna name him Artist of the Decade. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Like Artist of the Decade.
Drake is being named Billboard's Artist of the Decade. Artist of the Decade. Is he worthy of it? What do you think, Alex? Do you think is he worthy of that title, Artist of the Decade? Was he the biggest artist of our decade?
I'll put it like this. I don't like Drake. I don't enjoy his music. I mean, he has bangers every now and then, but I think he's kind of corny and I just don't like his music. But that being said, I can't deny like how successful he is as an artist, you know, like he does make quality music for other people. Like we may not like it, but like his songs do chart and they do last a long time. So I can understand why Billboard would give this award to him. Because it seems like every album he drops, it goes number one, it goes platinum, like all the accolades, all that shit. But like I said, I don't personally listen to
even
music,
the bad
but
ones.
I can understand. I'm not sure what Billboard's criteria was, but I can imagine just based off like his track record of like songs that he's dropped, I could understand why they would pick him for that.
All right. Marcus, what do you think? Do you think he deserves Artist of the Decade, Artist of our what 2010 to 2020? Is that the one they're going off of?
Yeah. So I do
All
think he
right,
deserves this.
what do you think?
I'm a Drake fan because
Yeah.
I'm not like a Drake stan, but I am a Drake fan. Like Alex said, he has hits. Thank Me Later came out in 2010, and since then
Mhm.
he's dropped one, two, three, four, five albums, 5 albums in 10 years. Plus, he went through that phase where he was like a feature on everyone's album. Um, and I don't think a year's gone by where he hasn't been on the Billboard Top 100 chart, and he has like some
Yeah.
crazy other accolades where he's like got more top 100s than anyone than the Beatles or something like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I think it's deserving whether you like his artistry or not, or I think we can't deny that even if we weren't listening to him, we were still hearing his songs.
I mean, that's
I
how
feel
it is
like
for me.
that's I feel like that's fair to say. In
Yeah.
2010, we were still in high school. I remember me and Alex specifically and Matt, we liked Drake from So Far Gone, and we had listened to So Far Gone, and we were like, Drake is dope. And I remember specifically Matt listened to the leak of So Far Gone, and he was like, yo, it's trash. He's doing a lot of singing. Um,
Are you talking about Take
this
Care?
Take
No,
Care.
or
No,
what
So Far Gone, or not So Far Gone. What's his first album? His
is it
first
Thank Me
Thank Me
Later?
Later.
Thank Me Later,
Thank Me
yeah.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt had, I remember this like conversation vividly. We were at Matt's house, probably smoking weed or some shit.
Mhm.
Matt had listened to the Thank Me Later leak, and was like, yo, this shit is a whack. And I don't think any of us really liked Thank Me Later from the start, except for maybe XC. And despite that, we still continued, like, Drake knocked it out the charts. I mean, Thank Me Later came out, the Young Money, or the Young Money joint album came out probably somewhere in around that time.
Mhm.
Everywhere we would go for the last 10 years, we've heard Drake music, whether we liked it or not. I think
Agreed.
around the time of Take Care-ish, where nothing was the same, because I kind of like faded in and out, because I was like, in high school I was into like super lyrical shit. We were all listening to Slaughterhouse, Royce the 5'9",
Mhm.
Joe Budden, mood music. We were kind of on the old head tip, and not listening to a lot of mainstream stuff.
Right.
And I think Drake was sort of that bridge, because early Drake, heavily influenced by Joe Budden, with the whole moody emo music. And at some point I just was like, yeah, I'm a Drake fan, I can't deny it.
I can
Like,
see that.
the music is everywhere. The music that I hear, I know the words to. I can't say
Yep.
that I don't like this song, right? To a different extent than Pharrell's Happy song, where you heard it everywhere, but you didn't necessarily like it. You just knew it because it was catchy. I mean,
Yeah.
Drake was out. His music videos were tight. Um, his old head of a dad was wilding out. Um, and then when we turned 21, man, like, and I started going to a
Oh
hip hop
yeah.
spot here in Denver. I'll tell you what, I have sung Drake in, like, the fucking basement clubs and shit like that, all over. And it's hyphy music. So I can't
Yeah.
deny Drake's impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I
like
got
Drake.
you.
He may not be my favorite artist of the decade, but he's definitely the most prevalent.
I can feel you. I feel you on that. Davon, it sounds like you might be on the opposite end of the spectrum. Do you think that Drake
Yeah,
deserves
of
to
course.
be You think he
No, I
does deserve
don't.
it? You
No.
don't deserve. You
I'm
think
saying
he
I'm
doesn't
on the
deserve?
opposite spectrum, but no, I don't
Yeah.
think he deserves it personally.
Do you
But like
have
y'all
anybody?
said too, you can't deny his impact, of course. I like a lot of his
Yeah.
songs actually,
Yeah.
but still, I don't think he's artist of the decade at all.
You
Who
like
would
his
you?
song, but you just who would you? Yeah. Who would you
Yeah,
think?
who
Who
would
do
you
you think
say?
deserves it?
My favorite artist isn't popular enough or mainstream enough. That's Big Crit, but besides him, I think it should be Kendrick Lamar.
Mm.
See, okay, we're gonna get into that, I'm sure, but
Before you
I
before you do that, I just want to read the other 10 people who were considered for the artist of the
let,
decade.
I was gonna do that as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you have the 10,
Let's get
I only
Eric's
have
impression
5.
first, and then we can read it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I would say that Drake definitely deserves artist of the decade. He has been the only person to consistently drop frequent albums. Like you said, Kendrick, yeah, Kendrick, he's been, I would say he's been relevant for the past 10 years for sure, but I feel like his discography is so spread out that it's hard to say that he was like Kendrick didn't have songs playing in the clubs for 10 years straight, but Drake definitely did. Like I feel like at any point in time there was always a song that was playing in the club by Drake.
Wait,
Like,
and are
and not
these
saying that
hip hop artists of the decade or just artists of the
Just
decade?
artist of the decade.
artists,
Artist, yeah.
Period.
not hip
Artist.
hop artists, artists of the decade.
Oh, then I will have to mention the weekend too. Then
Um,
to me,
okay. I think, but yeah. I would say he's definitely like. I feel like the consistency is there. The consistency, the relevancy,
Yeah.
the quality of his music because he puts out a lot of good songs. Like I wouldn't even say I'm a huge Drake fan. I don't know. I like a lot of his songs, but uh like I'm probably like the same level as Marcus. I'm not a stan, but I would say, I like Drake. I think he's definitely deserving of artists. I can't think of anybody else who would be legitimately as deserving as Drake, who's been relevant, who's been consistently putting out music like not even what about how like how many years apart would Drake like drop an album?
I'm still like two
So the
or
first
three
couple
at
were
the
like
most.
every other year, and then I think
Yeah.
between one album. But here's the thing: is that Drake would also release like these mixtape slash albums, like the future Drake album, isn't on, like that's
Oh,
also an
true.
album. Dark Lane demo tapes, which is probably one of his weakest projects, but that's like a mixtape or like an assemblage of leaks. And then speaking to Kendrick though, because I do think Kendrick is is probably the most relevant rapper. I think Drake
I can agree with that.
I think Drake served as the bridge that helped make hip hop's always been sort of big, but it's never really got
Yeah.
its dues. I think Drake helped create that bridge where he was singing, so some of his shit could be considered R&B, and then he put
Or pop
the
even.
weekend on, yeah, and then pop. And so I think Drake is sort of an assemblage of, like R&B, pop, and hip hop. And I think
He
he
did
Mhm.
kind
helped.
of put Kendrick on too.
Yeah, exactly, because he had the Kendrick feature,
Yeah,
Oh,
and they were.
yeah, on
that interlude on
Yeah,
uh
tape
was it like
two.
Kendrick's interlude or some shit?
what's that song? If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark
Room,
I'm
would you trust,
pretty
or
sure
would
it's
you?
called Kendrick Lamar's
uh
interlude. Ain't
I thought it was like Kendrick's
it?
interlude or something shit like that.
Yeah,
But this is around the same time that mixtapes still had some relevancy, and so like J. Cole put Kendrick on a
no, that's not
song.
what it's
He
called.
also
It's
put.
called
Go ahead, Eric. What's it called?
who? I wasn't saying
You.
anything.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't say anything.
I think there was like a bit of
Delay.
a delay, but
Yeah.
I think that for that time where Drake was gaining traction, I think there were also these other forces like Kendrick was gaining traction, J. Cole was gaining traction, and they sort of
Hmm.
emboldened Drake. Kanye was doing Good Fridays that introduced sort of a lot of people to each other in the hip hop, and I think hip hop as a whole sort of benefited from the fact that everybody kind of had a relationship with each other. You look back at 2011, 2010, and there was a lot of those connections being made where um like you were just getting these tracks with everybody on them. You know what I mean? And I think that shit was hot. I think hip hop benefited from those big featured songs where it was like, what's like One Train from ASAP Mob, One Train or ASAP Rocky. I
Hmm.
don't even know whose song
Hmm.
it was, but everybody
It
was
was
on that
ASAP
train.
Rocky's song.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think hip hop was in its like prime in a sense. And so Drake being a part of that helped elevate hip hop too, because everybody was listening to Drake and then they would listen to J. Cole or
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar or ASAP Rocky, or you know what I mean?
And it's
I
definitely
think
something to say that he's still putting out like bangers. He's still putting out songs that are extremely popular.
Who, Drake?
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like I think
absolutely.
uh and I feel like I don't see any end to it. I don't see any how can he stop when he can just consistently put shit like repeatedly.
I
Like
think
I
he
don't see
also
an end
helps
to,
steady appeals to white people.
he does in a way, I guess. Kind yeah.
He caters to white people in the fact that, unfortunately, like that idea of colorism is still a thing. Drake is overtly
Palatable.
light skinned. You know what I mean? And so being light skinned, I feel like when white people are like, oh yeah, I have black friends, or I listen to hip hop, it's like gonna be a light
I would
skinned dude.
I would say I don't know if he like panders to white people, but he 100% does play it safe.
He's
Like
accessible.
he's very accessible, he's very palatable. He never speaks out against anything. He doesn't use his platform for, well, I can't say what he does, like behind the scenes or anything, but he's never openly, spoken out against anything as some other artist does, like
I mean,
Kendrick or
as
J.
Kendrick
Cole.
has, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kendrick or they've like
Wouldn't the artist
openly
of the
spoke out.
decade be open like that?
I feel like they were probably just going off of like consistency. Who
It's not
who
even rap
stayed?
artists, it's the artist.
I
Yeah, it's
think
just artists. Period.
I mean like Billboard is like one of those like chart type of deal. So I mean, I'm sure it's just going based strictly off numbers. Like, so the amount of the pure number of hits that they have is what gives you the number one spot. Is what I feel like, and I feel like Drake always has charts like songs on the fucking billboards like every year. Like they'll stay on there for like a couple years. I know, damn, like I think every song went on the billboard, but like it seems like every album Drake has like 2 or 3 songs that stay on the billboard for at least like 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
And Drake was sort of he was sort of like kind of cutting edge into the viral music trend with like God's Plan and
Yeah.
off of his latest thing. I think a lot of artists' relevancy comes from them being able to keep up with how technology goes in a really weird way. For
Not just
example,
technology. Not just. I was just gonna say, not just technology. He has a good way of, if not like creating, but like keeping up with like how ever changing our culture is.
right.
Like our music tastes constantly change, and he either creates them or adapts to them so well,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
seamlessly.
That's part of what has kept Kanye relevant. sans his
Mhm.
like overt political stances, is part of Kanye's thing is like he's open to collaboration with young hot artists. Um but Kanye more so in hip hop. Drake has
Mhm.
more so been into um like R&B. I think R&B is like a super big and always has been a very large genre. Like R&B does numbers, right?
Yeah.
And so Drake sort of weaving in and out and then having sort of large pop and R&B features, like his relationship with Rihanna and the singles that have come out of their working together, I think has elevated him. You know, the that one song where he's like, or what's my name? You know, like that was huge. And Rihanna was coming off of like the success of Umbrella and
Mhm.
just sort of her being on Rock Nation. Uh, but with this hip hop and R&B and pop, it it's a lot about the tech. You know, I'll go back to that just
Yeah.
because Jay-Z is the one that made it so that the Billboard includes uh music streams, not just songs being bought,
Mhm.
because he dropped his song, or he dropped his album on, he dropped Magna Carta Holy Grail on I forgot what it dropped on, but him dropping Magna Carta Holy Grail on whatever platform it was on made Billboard go back and factor that in. And so what you
Right.
see is a lot of what Billboard includes happens because of streams, YouTube, because you know we've seen that sort of movement where it's not just how many units sold. Um, you can have songs streamed that equals a certain amount of units sold, essentially, because then on Spotify you have your ads, and so you're making revenue, albeit slower, but probably more because I mean everybody streams music now,
Mhm.
and some people never, you know, bought music to begin with. But
Mhm.
I think Drake has sort of kept his relevancy because he's been able to, for one,
Adapt.
I think he's kept good with his label. I think Cash Money, Young Money realized that, I think they realized early on that he was going to be a cash cow for them, more so than Tyga and Nicki Minaj and everyone else that was on Young Money in its heyday. I think they knew
Mhm.
that Drake was going to be making money. And then also Drake ended up with a whole other deal entirely at a certain point because he realized that he could make more money outside of them. You know,
Mhm.
I think that plays into a lot of it. That's why Doja Cat is so big because she went viral off the cow song, and then she can make TikTok hits.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can get big on TikTok, you can get big.
It's definitely important to stay up with shit. Like stay up. Like move with the times. Don't. I mean, of course, sticking to your shit no matter what is still cool. It can still be cool. We've seen it work with tons of people, but it definitely says something that he can keep up with the shit. But Alex, what are those? Who you said there was 10 people that were like candidates, and do they show
Yeah,
in or
well, I wouldn't say candidates, but I
do
guess it
they
just shows like the top 10 Billboard artists of the decade, and I can read them off real quick if you want me
rank?
to.
Yeah, yeah. Read those off.
So number one is Drake. Number two is
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. Three, Bruno Mars, Rihanna,
Mm,
Adele, Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Maroon 5, Post Malone. So just at a quick glance, Drake's the only rapper on there that I even see that even makes like hip hop music. But
What's
most
Post
people like
Malone's music considered?
I I wouldn't consider it rap, but like I don't know. I feel like he's one of those artists that just has like his.
Vulture.
What'd you say?
Vulture. He
Vulture.
said,
I feel like it's kind of
"Right
Post
like
out
Malone
the
definitely
sun, when I
he definitely
started
has his
falling, I was
he has his
young."
own lane. Like,
he has his own sound kind of.
Nah, man, that's Drake's sound.
You think so?
That's the R&B hip hop bridge, man. That look at Post Malone's a lot of Post Malone's early features, hip hop and R&B, I guarantee. You know what I
I-
mean? Not just pop. I mean, he wasn't fucking featuring Taylor Swift. He was
I would,
featuring Quavo and other Migos and
I mean,
whoever
but like
else.
Justin Bieber does that too. They always feature like hip hop artists, but I wouldn't consider it like hip
But
hop.
Justin Bieber
today.
sings, and also
Malone-
Justin Bieber
Post-
is a vulture as well.
Post Malone doesn't rap though. Like I've never heard him rap. He's always like kind of singing and like harmonizing and shit. Like I've never heard him like rap a verse.
Fair. Then he's R&B, or
Hmm.
he's that weird bridge, or
Yeah.
he, you know, I think Post Malone. When I think of Post Malone, you're right. I don't really think of R&B. I really don't think about hip hop. I think about.
So that, yeah.
I feel like I Post Malone is the pop byproduct that has come from people like Drake working with pop artists like Rihanna, and then also singing like R&B artists like The Weeknd. I think pop, the definition of pop,
definitely more of a. Oh, go ahead.
I think the definition of pop is like almost is predominantly hip hop influenced. And I think Post Malone, I think Justin Bieber, I think people like this, sort of Miley Cyrus on that one album that was produced by Mike Will
Yeah.
Made It. I
Yeah.
think they all fall in to this, and that this is why labels are bad, is because
Yeah. I agree.
you'll look at an artist, they'll make a certain type of music, and you'll be like, well, based on the features, I would say this is hip hop, or I would say that this is R&B, but
Like
it doesn't
Tyler
really
with his
fall
last album.
into any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think Post Malone, and I think being like labeled a culture vulture is when you're sort of genreless,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't necessarily be defined as a rapper, but you have all these features that are rappers or R&B artists. So it's weird. It's pop.
I think they honestly kind of fucked this list. Like I feel like they were reluctant to put a lot of rappers on here, but I think a lot more rappers deserve to be in the top 10. Like
Kendrick
for instance,
for sure.
Kendrick for sure. I'm surprised Kendrick's
for sure.
not on
I
there
think
at
he
all.
should be in the top 10, but also Eminem. And I'm not a huge Eminem fan, but he was definitely like, I feel like whether you were a big fan of his music or not, he's been relevant for the last 10 years.
I would
Well,
like,
say
consistently.
I would counter that. I would say that Eminem was relevant the past 10 years. So from 2000 to 2010, I would say Eminem was his most relevant. And I don't know who was the Billboard artist for 2000 to 2010,
I also
but I would say
think-
Eminem's big in there.
I think us, like we don't really fuck with his newest albums, but those albums were huge. Like the Rap God single was huge.
But I think a lot of go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say like I want to counter that as well, because I feel like Eminem is a popular artist, but he doesn't have like those chart topping songs like these other artists do. Like
You don't think so?
I would
no,
disagree.
not at all.
I would
Like,
say
what
that he
though?
had those big top chart topping songs during the 2000 chart topping Brock chart topping songs from 2000 to 2010. That's why I said that, is because
that era,
let me do
yes.
a little bit.
I would say he was a
We do a
lot
little bit of
bigger
research.
during that, because even
Yeah.
in that time we had Relapse, which was sort of like Relapse and Recovery, which y'all might not have fucked with, but me and X
I listened to
Dub
Yeah.
listened to pretty heavily, and we were like, yeah, that's tight. And then but then you also have, you know, all of his other the heyday of Eminem, when Eminem was just, you know, drugged out making
Yeah.
the crazy music that he made.
I guess it didn't top the charts. Huh. I thought it
But
might have.
didn't Rap God?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I
No,
agree with you, Marcus. So,
Maybe I
like,
just thought it
2000
was bigger than it was, because everybody was doing those fucking challenges, trying
It was
to
like a hip-
like
stayed
rap the
like
lyrics and
hip-hop,
shit.
though.
It
Like,
was
I feel
real
like it's-
gimmicky.
Yeah.
Eminem's time has passed. He is
I agree.
so
I agree
old,
with you. I agree. I just thought that
and
he might have Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm not
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not a huge Eminem fan now in today's day and age. Um, y'all think Travis Scott should be higher? He was 32.
No, he came late.
You
When did
think so?
When
Yeah,
did
he's
Travis
about
Scott help produce Yeezus and Cruel Winter? Was
That's
that
like
2016, 2017?
yeah, I want
I
to
would
Travis
say
say
Scott
Travis Scott
yeah,
should
you
Travis
be
would
on
I
there.
would say Travis Scott has recently been big. Drake has
I-
been huge
I feel
yeah.
like
since his debut. So
Travis Scott with his last album, but like aside from that, he hasn't really had compared to these other artists, I guess. I mean, I fuck with Travis Scott heavy, but compared to these other
But
artists, he just doesn't have the numbers.
you
I'd
also
say.
have to think about relevancy over the course of a decade. Travis
Exactly.
Scott has not been
true.
around for a decade.
Yeah.
I
Travis Scott,
agree.
when you think of him, it's
I
like,
think
wow.
he has.
But to
Not
what
mainstream
extent?
though.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, not
When
mainstream.
did Days Before or when did Rodeo drop? Because
I
Days
thought
Before
that was 20
Like
Days
2012,
That was
2013,
2015.
something.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up because Days Before Rodeo
Rodeo
is
was
technically
2015.
a mixtape.
I knew who Travis Scott was, but I remember
Okay,
Alex told me about Owl Pharaoh when it dropped, and that was in
yeah.
high school, I think.
So
I
Al
feel like
Man,
that's
that's
Pharaoh
still
was a
Uptown.
mixtape. Days
underground.
Before so Al Pharaoh came out 2013. He
Yeah.
wasn't big then. Al Pharaoh is dope. Days Before Rodeo is in that time where Travis Scott was producing more, and so if he wasn't technically like an artist then, because technically in the same way that Kanye West wouldn't have been on the I take that back, scratch that. But what I'm saying is Travis Scott didn't get big until maybe his last album, even though we listened to him in our pod of people because we all have talked to Alex. Alex also got me on Days Before Rodeo, and then I went back and retroactively listened to Al Pharaoh. And while bangers, these weren't big projects. Those two are considered mixtapes. He was signed to Grand Hustle during that time, and he was producing for I think Jay-Z and Kanye West, but he wasn't as big of a name until and then he got his he had a feature on Cruel Summer or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And even then I didn't even know who he was. I
Yeah.
thought that verse that he did on Sin City was Sci-Hi the Prince. And so Travis Scott didn't become like a household name until
Astro
I don't know, Astro World maybe.
I
I
say
would
Astro.
say
Or maybe like Kylie Jenner.
mm,
Like that's what I feel like. That's when he really took the next level. Like when he started
like
doing
Yeah.
Mario.
because that's when he got like all the commercials, like all the shoe deals. Like that's when he started getting like all this
Rodeo didn't even have like a big actually it did. It had
3,500.
no, it had Antidote.
Oh yeah.
Antidote was the big single from that. And that was
Oh,
sort of
Birds in the Trap. I forgot about that.
Birds in the Trap saying Byron McKnight though. That came 2016, 2017.
that was a pretty popular
But I was
album.
about to say that was popular too.
Well, and that was popular because Young Thug and so like his features with Young Thug, was it Pick Up the Phone was on that album.
Pick up the
Um,
phone.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Man,
Mm.
Pick Up the Phone was me and
That's a
Yum
banger.
had a field day, man. I
That
don't
song is good.
I
yeah.
really like that album. Honestly,
Isn't
the
yeah.
more we talk about it, it kind of just builds on how I don't see how anybody else
But
could
Drake.
be artist of the decade but Drake, because
Where's
like we're
Beyonce,
talking
though?
about and of course here's another thing, we are mainly hip hop heads. Like we don't
This is
I don't
true.
listen to Taylor Swift. I can't think of any of her fucking songs. So it's
Taylor Swift
like
has some bangers.
it's possible, like it makes sense. I don't know. I don't care to know. Uh so I guess I mean I couldn't even tell you if I think she deserves to be up that high. I
I
think
think she
Bruno
does.
Mars
I
is
think she
pretty
does.
high.
And Bruno Mars
Bruno
I
Mars
definitely.
is
think
pretty high.
I think
I
Rihanna's pretty high
You think
too,
Bruno
honestly.
Mars? Hmm.
Put
Bruno
your
Mars
Even
on there. I
pinky
feel like
Adele,
fingers
Beyonce.
to the moon.
I think
Adele,
Bruno
Adele,
Mars,
no.
Adele,
Rihanna,
no.
No.
And Maroon 5.
Adele been
those
too
three.
quiet. Rihanna's been too quiet.
Yeah.
I
Katy
mean,
What
Perry
Adele-
even
Rihanna
like
got,
Katy Perry's been
3.
quiet too. Like, what'd you say?
So Rihanna got like 3 albums.
Adele's
Yeah.
big song. What was Adele's big song? It wasn't Hello.
Fire! Light
That
my
was
body on fire.
no
Immolate me, daddy.
Immolate. Hold on, let me see what there like she came out with a big
I can tell you.
song.
Yeah, I don't.
Isn't
listen
it
to
Burn
Is
or
it
something?
Rolling in the Deep? Is that her song?
Rolling in the
Deep.
Deep. That was the
Yeah.
big one. Yeah, that was the big one. And her second big one was Hello. And that was in 2015.
Hello.
So I
You
feel
know,
like
Adele and Frank Ocean kind of have that in common, where they're really dope artists,
yes.
but they're elusive. Adele less elusive than Frank Ocean, but Frank Ocean and Adele, they both have that sort of people love them. Other artists love how they do music and what their music is, but they can't be considered like most prevalent in the last decade because they're
no. They're
because they're
amazing
so
artists.
elusive.
Amazing artists, not artist of the decade. Like the thing is, I can think of much better artists than Drake. I'm not saying like even saying he's the artist of the decade. I think there are tons of artists who are better than Drake and who not even
That's
just
just
that I
like
like
your
more, just that I think are
opinion,
better
man.
artists. It is my opinion.
Hey, man, I would say Beyonce
Coward.
over Drake.
I was surprised. I'm surprised that Beyonce isn't in
Beyonce should
that
definitely
10.
be up there. What
Yeah,
the
she's
fuck?
not even
I
on
didn't
the
even
list.
think of.
Yeah. That is
She's
kind
not
of
even
crazy.
on the
Probably be
10.
the
What the
artist of the
fuck?
decade.
That's crazy. If there was a contender for Drake, I would say Beyonce.
But so that's the thing is nobody works like Drake. You know,
That's true.
Drake has just been releasing music for the last 10 years
So I
straight.
feel like a lot of this stuff be subpar,
In this
even
point,
with the
it's
quantity.
in this point it's quantity over quality, as we've seen, because we obviously we know better artists than Drake, Taylor Swift, but who else
But
releases?
But I feel like
consistent
to
quantity.
be the decade
Yes.
artist of the decade, you gotta have the quality. I feel like that matters more than quantity.
Not for Billboard.
Think about so say we had a great artist and he released music consistently for 10 years straight. He might have some shitty albums, but I wouldn't say any other than that one you were talking about, the dark something. That was a mixtape though, right?
Dark Lane demo tapes.
Yeah, that shit was trash. But I would say none of his albums were trash.
Yes, they
Like,
were.
which albums were trash? Like, which ones were like bad? Not subpar, trash.
I can name some trash Drake albums, but
Nothing was the same. I thought was trash.
he
Views was trash.
But he had some bangers on there.
Scorpion was trash.
Ooh.
You might be right about Scorpion. I don't know.
Scorpion
I
was
can't think of
trash.
a single song off there.
What was on Scorpion? Dude, was
God's Plan.
God's Plan.
Well,
No,
that's
but
that's a
God's
banger.
Plan
though.
is a banger.
That was a
People
huge
love
song. A
God's Plan.
humongous
That's the thing
song.
with Drake though. Like he'll always drop like some subpar music, but he'll always have like 2 or 3 just like mega hits. So that's why I mean
That's
like
important though.
I think
Not
yeah,
everybody
like
thinks
Billboard
that.
and shit like that. Yeah.
God's
Not
For
Plan.
everybody.
artist of the decade.
I'm about to name some songs off Scorpion.
Nice for what?
And y'all let me know. Y'all let me know
For
if y'all
what?
know
For
these
these
songs.
niggas, you gotta be.
Do y'all know the song After Dark?
No.
It's after dark. My name
What
is
about
Drake.
Summer Games?
No.
8 out of 10.
No. I know Jaded.
Elevate?
I like Jaded.
Elevate, elevate, elevate. No, that's levitate, and that's
I
a
don't know
Kendrick
that.
song.
No, that's Elevate. Oh shit, yeah. No, I
How about
can't think
now?
of shit
How about now?
off of
The
here.
Motion,
What
Days
Bad
in the
Baby.
East,
Bad Baby.
4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto, 6 p.m. in Omaha.
the fuck? Yeah, we should
Jodeci
wrap
freestyle.
this topic up. Honestly,
It's just
we're,
weak. Yeah, we've been going on this for a
yeah,
minute.
but yeah, we all except for Davon pretty much agree that he definitely deserves Artist of the Decade.
Drake been working, man.
He
Can't deny
works.
the work.
He does
Yeah,
his
good
shit.
work.
You can't deny
But
it. It's
and you know that's
Davon is set.
Tech Nine been working for the last 10 years. You don't see him on that
Oh
list.
my god.
Tech
What's my
Nine
man's currency on the list though?
Tech 9. Tech
currency.
9.
I mean, if we're going
Currency.
off of quantity, Gucci Mane.
Wow.
What y'all going off
Lil
of.
B.
I'm going off of quality.
Lil B.
If we're going
Yeah,
off of
you're right.
quantity, Lil B,
Lil
man.
B has
The
Lil
bass
B
guy?
takes the cake. 100
Easily.
song mixtapes.
Yeah, some of these-
Thousands of songs, man. Probably thousands of songs over the last
Literally.
10 years.
Oh my god. Let me see
So-
if I can put. Let me see if I
All
can
bangers.
check and see how
Somewhere
many
in
songs he-
between quantity and quality, in the middle, there's Drake, and that's a worthy thing that he got, fucking Artist of the Decade.
Good for white people.
I can't even find exactly how many songs he's made.
who Lil B?
It says he has 61 mixtapes. Wait, that can't be right. That
No,
can't
that's
be
absolutely
right.
right. That's absolutely
Hold on,
right.
there is no
I
way.
wouldn't be surprised. 61 mixtapes.
61 mixtapes. Holy shit.
And let's not forget the base god curse that he casts on
True.
fucking athletes. That shit's real.
Oh,
Hilarious. Yo, he
AD,
literally
James
has
Harden.
61 mixtapes. There's SS Mixtape Volume 1, SS Mixtape Volume 2, Thrax,
already-
Dior Paint, Pretty Boy Millionaires, Everything.
We don't
Banks,
need to
Blue
name all of
Flame,
them. We don't need
Roses
to name all of them.
Exodus,
Let's get
Paint,
into
Motherfucking
Invincible.
Base, Gold Dust, Where the Sun Go, Red
Hey,
Flame, Red Flame,
Eric,
Evil
stop.
Edition.
I'm gonna end this, man. I don't want to hear it. I was just joking. I don't like Lil B. Surprise.
The man's an icon.
I get that, and I'm not gonna discredit that. But going into
Number one,
Invincible
bitch.
episode 7,
Yes.
Invincible
let's talk about
episode
it.
7, y'all. Oh, what a surprise. Mark getting his ass beat yet again. This time by a kaiju. What's
and the
kaiju's
Immortal
name?
screaming the whole time.
He
This
was screaming,
episode
yeah.
put the Immortal on my list of favorite characters
Oh,
because
dude.
he was
Where
so
is he?
angry.
Where
He
is
just, where's Omni Man?
He just came
And
back
he
from
was
the
just
fucking dead.
screaming.
You'd think that'd be a jarring experience. That's crazy.
That was
Alex,
his
what
last
was your first
memory.
impression? Yeah, fucking death. Alex, what was your first impressions, bro?
Dude, this is by far my favorite episode so far. It's just like chaos, like the
Oh
entire
my
episode.
god.
I loved it. Like absolutely love
Yeah.
this shit.
Amazing episode.
I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, this one's on point.
Davon, what do you think of the episode? First impressions, boy.
Which one is 7?
7,
Yeah,
yeah.
7.
I agree. It was chaos. I mess with it.
Marcus, first impressions.
Loved it. I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I tend to gravitate towards characters who are super angry and just screaming. So, like the very fact that they put the Immortal in there,
Where is
screaming,
he?
Where is he? Like that automatically makes it one of my favorite episodes.
The
There's more to that,
Immortal.
but the Immortal came out fucking
Great.
angry.
Great
He
value
woke up,
Omni
chosen
Man.
violence, literally.
Literally,
Oh,
yeah.
he
Yo,
literally woke
Not
up.
even wake up. He revived choosing violence
Came
and
back.
fucking made that shit happen.
Resurrected choosing violence.
Fuck, man. Who else does that?
Where
but
is
Jesus.
he? Ripped off the fucking collar. Yo.
That oh man, Robots a G for
The
playing.
Immortal.
Oh my bad. Did they already go?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh yeah.
no. I
Eric,
didn't go yet.
how did you feel about this episode? Eric, how'd you feel? Eric.
Y'all know I fucked with this episode. It has everything that I love, as always. Violence, gore, blood, nigga, people getting fucked up.
Decapitated.
Decapitated, half-entated. What do you call it when somebody gets slammed in half? Split in half. I love
You
that
call
shit.
that
I
the
want to
Omni-Man
see it all.
special.
Omni-Man was going in the entire episode. He was not fucking around. The entire episode, this man was taking names. I
Yo,
I think uh I think my favorite part was him fighting the soldiers, like him just like
oh, killing
scraping them,
everybody.
literally
Yeah, they're like
scraping
biting
them.
at his face and shit. He's just like smacking him down like
My
Yeah.
that's
favorite part,
dope.
my favorite part at the beginning was Omni-Man uh being angry, and he's like, "We'll talk later," and then flying through the
And then just
house.
burst through the fucking
It's
roof.
just like, all right, you fucking child. Like,
Right. We'll talk
regardless of,
about
I don't
this
know how you
later.
think this is gonna end, but like, you're gonna have to fix that fucking hole through your
Yeah.
two-story house, man. Like,
Yeah.
that shit's funny.
Omni-Man. I think this episode kind of made me like Omni-Man a little bit because just how he was going in on everybody was just
Yeah.
nuts. He was not fucking around. I
Mark?
really like that. Where's Mark?
Dude,
Oh, he pressed William. Yo, he
yes, he
pressed him.
pressed that man.
Yo, he
Where's
let the dent
Mark?
on his. He's like,
I know.
"Where's Mark?"
I want you to
Man.
call him.
I
We should
forgot that
start
he had
out.
that interaction.
Yeah, we should start out at the beginning of the episode. They reveal that Amber reveals that she knew that Mark was invincible. That fucking bitch. That makes everything so
I
much worse, dude.
I wouldn't call her that, man. So
I would. I don't fuck with Amber.
I think the thing with Amber is it the way her character is that she doesn't go with like the sort of traditional ways that you would think her character would develop, because when we think about fictional characters, we're like, there's a good ending, there's a middle, beginning, and end, there's sort of this progression, and then there's the downturn. She just doesn't like being lied to, um to the core of her person, even though it may not seem logical that she knows Mark is a superhero and wants to preserve his secret identity. She's known that, and she's just like, well, he hasn't told me. And not only that, but he comes up with shitty ass explanations as to where he's been. And then, ditched her in the last episode. I think I think she's just one of those characters that is three-dimensional, to the sense that, um in the same way that we can't predict how people will react to things, we can't predict how Amber is going to react to the news of Mark. I was talking about it in the last episode. In the comics, Amber was like, "Oh, you're a superhero. Things are okay. I know you're a superhero now. Everything makes sense. Everything, you ditching me at the soup kitchen, fine. You ditching me at the college campus because whatever, because you had to save me." Um, I think we see Amber
Here.
as what?
Oh, I was just gonna say. See, here's my thing with that. If it was the point where uh Mark just confessed that he was invincible, and that was her first moment finding out, her having the reaction that she did, whatever, like she can make the choice of, I don't want this. I understand that you have this life where you can't make time for me, whatever. I don't want to be a part of that. That's fine. She's perfectly capable of making that decision. I think it's a valid decision because not everybody wants to be in that position to where, your significant other is constantly in danger or
Right.
or being late to fucking dinner all the time. But the fact that she said, I've known for weeks, and consciously put herself in the position to be lied to, knowing that he's a superhero, knowing that he has to hide his identity. He's hiding his identity from his friend who he's known for however long they've known each other. But because
You talking
they're
about William?
romantically involved, yeah, William. Yeah, but because they're romantically involved, he should tell her. Like, I think I think
Fair.
she was thinking real selfish, which I guess is her prerogative. You can be selfish. I don't see being selfish as necessarily a bad thing, but I'm just saying I don't fuck with her because she willingly put herself in the position to be lied to and expected differently. She expected Mark to act differently, and when he didn't, she got upset and
Yeah.
curbed him and treated him like shit.
Mhm.
Which
She's human,
I
man.
don't think he deserved. I understand that. I understand. And I just don't think not saying that Mark was a great boyfriend to her or whatever, but I don't think he did what he could. I don't think he deserved. I don't think he ever had any ill intentions or anything like that.
I don't think he
Um
did either. I think like you said, he's just a bad boyfriend.
yeah, he's just a bad
And I think in
boyfriend,
a
which
lot
is
of
fine.
those situations, you just continue to hope for the best in someone, and
Sure.
you give them chance after chance because you really like them.
You give them chances, but you don't make them feel like shit for not living up to your expectations,
Yeah.
which is exactly what she did. Talking about you lied to me. Like, yeah, he lied to you. He's a fucking superhero. He has to protect his identity. He has a like he doesn't know you like that. Like he doesn't know that one day you might get mad at him and might tell us fucking supervillain that Mark is invincible and then they go kill his mom or something. That's shit that he has to think about and be wary of because of his duty. Um and I think she was just kind of inconsiderate of all that because of how she felt. I feel like there was no compromise in there. Like, I mean, when it came out, she could have, like, when she figured it out, she could have been like, okay, I know you're invincible. So the line can stop here. But she's like,
They're also
oh, I
both
know
in
he's
high
invincible
school,
now.
you know?
You're right. They are high
They're
schoolers. You're right
kids.
about that. And that's, I think the intelligence that they show through Amber kind of makes you forget that she is a kid,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
responsibilities laid on Invincible kind of also makes you forget that he's a kid. So you're right. They are kids. Um, but yeah, I think that was a really interesting. That was an interesting part of the episode. Uh, it went in an interesting direction, probably a very human direction. I mean, not every human's gonna make the right decision every time, but I still don't fuck with her.
Yeah. Davon.
I don't have a problem with it.
What y'all think when y'all saw the real robot, like the little baby in the vat?
It was disgusting.
He ain't no baby.
I know he just kind of looks like a big old baby, like
I
a
thought it
big
was
old
funny
beaver.
that. Oh, you can go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say I thought it was funny when they're like flipping coins, and they said they like flip coins of who would like take him up like the tub or whatever. I thought that shit was hilarious.
It's kind of
He
sad
looked
that he
real
had to kill
gross.
himself.
What'd you say?
Yeah,
Kind of sad that he had to kill himself.
I
He had to
agree.
suffer.
But
I Robot in this episode is just creepy, man.
he's creepy, and
I don't feel sorry for him because one, we see that Robot isn't some Robot up to this point has been sort of this like cold calculating entity that we have accepted because we know, or at least we think we know, that he's a robot, right?
mhm.
Robot's thoughts are coming from an organic being acting, calculating to the extent of what you would think a robot would, but also selfishly in the fact that he took organic matter from Rexplode to clone Rexplode as a child so that he can get with a
Yeah.
woman, and mind you, she's 23, 24 or whatever,
Mhm.
but she's in a child's body. He does all of this weird calculated moves just so that he can get with her, and she sort of goes with it, and that whole thing sort of rubs me the wrong way.
I
I
agree. He's
I
kind of
get
a
that it's he's not like a pedophile
pedophile.
because he explains
He's
that
not a pedophile.
he's just a predator.
He's
know what I
drawn
mean?
he's drawn to, I mean, I understand that he's drawn to her condition because it's very similar to his, but I think this episode perfectly showcases that. I think, well, I wouldn't say it perfectly showcases, but I think it's interesting that they made Robot like completely socially inept. Like, it's not just that he did these things, he expected it to just, you know, go over with the entire team, that he did these insane things. Like, everything that he was doing was insane. Releasing the Mahler twins, two genius level criminal,
Excuse you.
two genius level what? No.
No,
I mean, I don't know what that sound was. I'm just saying.
it's someone who was
excuse you.
fixing the computer. I'm sure that's what that was.
Cool, man. Whatever. Moving on.
Oh my god. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about my favorite, okay, not my favorite, but probably one of my favorite parts of this episode is the cloning. Like, the way they were talking about it and going about the cloning was extremely interesting to me. How when they transfer their mind, they make a copy of their mind instead of actually transferring their mind over to the other one. They make a exact copy to where they neither of them would really know who the original was. I mean, they knew because one of them
In
was a
terms of the
fucking
Mahler
baby
twins, yeah.
and the other one was a, in terms of the Mahler twins, yeah. But it makes you think of what it is exactly that they go through when they make another clone. Like, they are based, like when he says he didn't expect the continuity, how uh basically if you woke up in another person's body, except your body was still there and it was still you, that would freak you out, and then you would be like, but I'm me. But you wouldn't be wrong or right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you, like, and I feel like that was an interesting angle for them to go, because they easily could have just copped out and been like, oh, he transferred his mind to this somehow, instead of I feel like it was really Black Mirror of them uh to go about it in that way.
Yeah, and
I don't know
also
if you
the
ever,
original robot had to die. You know what I mean? And
he
you
didn't
sort
have to
of,
die.
well, but he did in order to
Mm.
exist in the way that he wanted to, where the original robot would be the organic Rexplode cloned robot, if that makes sense. The other the original robot, the 34-year-old blob of a thing in a vat of water, um, his condition had him uh, at odds with oxygen. He couldn't breathe in oxygen because it burns his lungs. He had all these debilitating conditions where he knew that if he created this clone, he would need to die himself, so that the only robot, the only what is he called, Rudy, the only Rudy that there is him, and that would make him the most human that he could be, and that's what he wanted to do in order to be with Monster Girl.
But the crazy technical part of it is basically Robot's dead. Like, he just died. He's
Well,
not, he didn't go into it. Like, I'm just saying it's interesting that he didn't go into another body. He just died. Like, basically, he made a clone of himself and then he died. And this
yeah,
clone gets to live on. Like, they
but
make it.
there's like this big push in the last episode I talk about the transhumanists. There's this sort of big push right now where they believe that they can make humans immortal, and the they in question think that a life can be immortal if it carries on in a inorganic hosts, inorganic host beyond the capabilities of that host's original body.
And by
So-
life, you mean consciousness, right?
Yeah, and that's essentially what it ends up being, is that there's a continuation of its consciousness in a new vessel, but the original consciousness within the original organic body is dead. And so it brings up the question, can you actually be immortal, or are you just cloning yourself and then carrying on in sort of like mantle form, where you pass on the mantle of being an Eric to a robotic disk because you've uploaded
Right.
your consciousness to the cloud?
And that actually like the thought process makes you struggle with the idea of self. Like if
Oh
you were
my god!
if
You know
you were
what? This is an
if you were
Invincible episode. We
standing
don't
in
need to
front
be
of
talking about robot this long.
it's that deep though. Like they
I
went
get
about
that,
it that
man.
like that because it's that deep.
Yeah, but this
Like
is turning
like
into
the
a
Mahler twins,
duplicate
like that's
thing.
why I'm so fascinated. No, it is not.
It
It's
is,
not.
because this isn't even
All right,
the.
yeah, all right. I'm giving it up. I'll give it up.
This is
Dang.
like, this is a
Can't find
larger
shit fascinating
conversation.
these days.
Anyways, Mark Grayson once again finds himself getting his ass beat by the kaiju.
I have a lot of notes about the brain copying process.
It's not the most important
oh.
part of the.
I agree. But R.I.P. Bobby Hill, aka Donald. He went out like a
Yeah.
thug. Damn, when he like grabbed his spine, that shit
Oh,
was
it's gross.
fucking brutal. It was tight. Like
I like
he
that
he
shit.
just had a hold of his like, ugh, makes my back itch.
That
Like
He
a
like-
puppy.
what did y'all?
He did. He did.
How do y'all feel about like the Omni-Man and his wife at this point? Like how, like obviously she knows. Like what do you? I guess you guys know what happened, but like when you first saw the episode, like how did you feel about that at that point?
Scared for her life.
Yeah.
I feel like-
with Cecil,
What?
because she hanging with Cecil, she should be fearing for her life.
This is true.
Yeah, Omni-Man does not fuck with Cecil.
Yeah, but she gets scooped up pretty quickly. I mean, she
Alex,
Yes.
Alex, after watching this episode, what do you think of Cecil?
I like him. Like I guess I understand him more than anything, like why he did what he did, and I like him as a character, like, and now he's doing everything he can. Like I guess it shows like everything that he was doing like in the previous episodes, like what his thought process was, and like now he's trying to like all that was to stop Omni-Man eventually. And so now you kind of like
Yeah.
see his like master plan essentially. So I fuck with him, I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna go over very well for him, but I like him.
I feel like that little part sums it up when her name is Diane, right?
His wife.
The
It's
mom,
Debbie.
yeah. Debbie? Oh. Yeah, Debbie. When she's like you need to call that monster off, and he tells her that it's the best way if it destroys them both, and that's good for all of us. And she's like, this is
Yeah.
why I hate you. And he's like, yeah, I hate me too, or something like that.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
that kind of sums up his entire character. Like
makes the hard
he
decisions,
has
man.
to
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Did
And
y'all catch the Akira reference in this episode?
Mm-mm. What was the reference?
So I don't know what it is, but it's a thing in animation where like a lot of like big shows, movies, whatever, they all sort of reference Akira, the animated movie, to a certain extent.
that bike scene
It's
is
usually the bike
replayed
scene
a lot.
that they replay, yeah. But in this episode, first line of defense is Omni-Man's going, and he gets targeted by the orbital, missile,
the
defense
That
missile,
satellite.
shit
the
was
satellite,
crazy.
Mhm.
and that's
That's
like,
another line when he was like,
go ahead. What's he
I was
like?
just saying another line when he was like, "Don't you fucking dare" or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. But that's like a direct reference to Akira, where it comes down, like
Mhm.
blows up his shit, but he's unscathed, and then he floats up, and that where he floats above the satellite and then destroys it is
Mhm.
like a direct callback to Akira. You know what I mean?
Mm.
In Akira, was it Canada? Canada, when he's going through his metamorphosis, he gets shot at by the orbital defense satellite, and it gets pinpointed. He gets blown up, and then he's okay. He goes up. He destroys the satellite responsible for that, and
Mm.
then this kind of takes it to another
Wait,
step.
Tetsuo?
Canada, or whichever
Tetsuo is the
one,
one who turns into the Akira
the
monster.
monster. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
Tetsuo. So, but then the next scene is when Cecil comes down, and then that's exactly like Canada versus Tetsuo. They both have like a big gun, and they're aiming it at the monster, and then they're shooting at him with like a sort like a similar weapon, basically.
Mm.
Which is like a big weapon that's bigger than themselves, and then they go about it, and then the monster continues. But it's just a cool callback to
Yeah.
Akira. Is
I fucking
all
love
I wanted to
Akira.
talk
That
about.
movie is so dope. Have y'all seen that, Alex?
Yeah,
Y'all should hear.
I watched it my first time with Marcus actually in Denver.
Yeah.
That shit is so
We
dope.
watched it for
Movie club.
first rendition
Yeah.
Was that when I was part of movie club?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
It
I
was
feel
my
like I was
choice. I remember. It was my choice.
feel like I was part of movie club for like 3 weeks or something like that.
If
That's
that.
about as long as they last.
Yeah.
No, because
Our most rendition.
you did like a movie club, and then you did like another one where you were like, all right, for real this time, and then I never messaged back, and then I wasn't a part of the next one. But
Yeah, our most recent rendition of the movie club has recently ended, but I think that one was the longest one uh
yeah,
that we did. But yeah, Invincible.
back to Invincible. Anyways,
We be
that
getting
was an
so off
Akira
topic.
callback.
That's
And
pretty
that
dope. I
it
like
was just
that.
kind of cool to see. Like if you go back and you watch it, you'll see like I feel like somebody somewhere might have compiled a shot by shot reference to
Yeah.
Akira and Invincible. Just because Invincible tends to do that sort of fan service stuff. So
I really like the part about Rex freaking out about Rudy. When he
yeah, that
was
shit's
like,
creepy,
yeah,
man.
it's super fucking creepy.
Robot's fucked up.
And he only did it
Oh
because
yeah.
Monster Girl.
Showed
Found him
interest
attractive.
in
Yeah.
Rex Blode.
That's fucking
Yeah.
he's
That's
weird as fuck for
Like
that.
that's really
episodes
stealthy.
Like
ago,
it just shows
Really
how
fucking
socially
weird.
inept he is.
Yeah.
but I
Um,
mean, how socially
People
aware would you
are.
be if you were raised in a fucking vat?
He's out in the world. It's
As
not like he's
Robot,
not experienced. Okay, but it's not like he's not experiencing
When
shit.
you live in a jar, you ain't experience
He's
nothing.
out there. He's experiencing the
Hey,
world.
The
You do some
robot is
crazy
out
things.
there.
You do some crazy things when you
It's
down
not like
bad.
he's isolated.
yeah, that's for true.
A robot is the most
Down
down
bad.
bad. Man, that man is
For
down
sure.
oceanic.
Desperation mode.
Down
1-800, you know what I mean?
atrocious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that man went the extra mile. Freed fugitives.
And
Cloned a body. Killed himself.
I'm not entirely sure that Robot didn't like even create this entire team around the basis of getting in good with Monster Girl, because
I
That's a
think it
good
he
came
point.
later.
well,
I think
but
it,
like I said a couple episodes ago, he released the Mauler twins before he created the team.
are you sure?
100%.
100? I'm gonna have to go back and look. But yeah,
100.
it's possible he planned it all out for. I don't know. It felt like after like with time he started to dote on Monster Girl.
Nope.
When she, I think
Are
the
you
specific
questioning Marcus right now?
Yeah, are you questioning the Omega?
yeah.
What you trying to
No.
get into?
What you gonna do about it?
What do you mean by that?
What you
What you
gonna
mean by
do
that?
if I question you?
Hey man, why
Yeah.
a dude named Immortal get killed 2 times though?
Hey, was he
Hey,
Abraham Lincoln?
Well, so he was Abraham Lincoln.
He was.
Yeah, it's funny that they show him at the opera in this, with James Wilkes Booth behind him, because in the comics you
John Wilkes Booth.
there's like a couple of blocks where they show the Immortal's background and they show his other lives, and the only one that you get is of behind him with his like top hat in front of people in Washington D.C. But essentially, we get the idea that the Immortal is, as his name implies, immortal, and has been around fucking during. It looks like either like as a caveman with fucking
Yeah, he was a
soot on his
caveman at
face,
first.
with it looks like during the Crusades, or probably like the founding of England. It's like a knight of the round table, Abraham Lincoln, and then like a golden age superhero.
Wait, so I
I
wonder if
thought
he
they
keeps
were.
dying and they just keep bringing him back or something.
Yeah, and
I
that's
feel like he probably
essentially
can
what.
be brought back again.
Oh yeah, they recover these.
No, I get the. I mean, at this point, he just got ripped in half. You know, in
His head
terms of
got
like,
chopped off the first time.
he got his head chopped off. I feel like that's the most ultimate way to die.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
everyone that in fiction, everyone that comes back always comes back from being chopped in half, being shot in the head, but nobody comes back from getting their head chopped off. So essentially, the Immortal getting his head chopped off, to me, told me that if that doesn't kill him, nothing does. You know what I
I
mean?
disagree. I think if Omni Man blew his brain up, I think that would kill him.
I think that he would just regenerate. I mean, Omni Man also destroyed his spinal cord. You shouldn't be able to come back from that.
How would they put his brain back together?
He doesn't need to. He would just regrow it.
That's what he does.
But he didn't regrow his body.
Yeah, because he already
if
had a
that
body.
logic was
But
correct,
he
no.
regrew the pieces in his
He healed
fucking
it.
spine. You know, he heals everything.
He did? Wait, when?
His
What?
body doesn't create the immortality aspect to him. The immortality aspect to him is an attribute of his soul or whatever. You know what I mean?
When did he regrow his spine?
I'm not gonna get into it.
Oh my god. God damn it,
Um,
Marcus.
I got a question. Were the Mauler? Why did the
Go ahead,
Maulers-
Alex.
Why did they bring him back?
Marcus.
specifically? Like with the hopes to control him with that collar that they got.
Yeah, they
Well,
thought
him-
that they
Yeah.
could control
They
him.
wanted to use him as they wanted to use him as insurance against
Well, they
Robot.
wanted to use him to kill
Oh.
Robot, and then fucking Immortal, being the berserking immortal
Where
being that he
is
is, came back, ripped off the collar,
that
and
shit.
fucking flew off. That shit is
I'll kill
hilarious.
you.
Bro, the Maulers.
Where's Omni Man? And they're like, we don't know. And he's like,
Oh yeah.
Dude, they took so many L's this episode. Like first, Robot like
Fucks
called
their
him
shit
out,
up.
like,
On him.
got the fake bracelet or the neck brace, and like, oh boy, escaped from it, and then they left with
I
nothing.
love how many L's everybody fucking takes. Everybody takes L's. Nobody's safe.
Except for Omni Man.
Nobody is
it ain't
from a
safe. It
L.
ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't
Omni
safe.
Man, did he take any L's?
No.
No, he doesn't.
His wife finding out about the Guardians, that's an L.
Yeah,
for him,
Omni Man
I think.
takes like lesser L's.
He don't give a
He
fuck.
takes
about none of
lesser
that.
L's.
He don't really care. He could kill all of them if he wanted to.
He can. He can. Nobody
I
can.
mean, the world
See,
was gonna find out anyway.
Yeah.
I guess
That
that's
really-
true.
That's why you can't hide stuff from your lady, man.
But that wasn't part of his plan. So the fact that it didn't go according to his plan means he took a L. It was a light L, but it was an L nonetheless. Nobody
It was a
is
real
safe
slight
from
L.
L. It's
It was like
L
it was a lowercase L.
Yeah,
It was a
lowercase.
Everybody
lowercase
else
L.
been taking uppercase L's the entire season.
Especially his
Yeah.
son.
Oh God, that man. If there was a uppercase L, that's what Invincible be taking.
Bold, italicized, underlined.
Bold,
Bold as
underline,
fuck.
Times New Roman, font 32.
Font 72.
72 for sure.
Hail Mary is back, kicking ass. A little kaiju action. You can't have a show like this without a kaiju. It was doing the same moves though. It would do the slap down with the tentacles and then the stomp. It did that move like
Play too many
4
video
times in a
games.
row. Huh?
Play too many video games.
Me?
Yeah.
I
You're talking
do.
about patterns.
I mean, I'm just saying, if he was a boss, he wouldn't be that hard.
Who?
If I was fighting him on Dark Souls, Hail
Who?
Mary,
Who's Hail
Hail
Mary?
Mary, the kaiju.
That's the name of the kaiju is Hail Mary?
Yeah.
I think they just say that it is a Hail Mary, as in the same
No,
way.
its name is Hail Mary.
All right,
It has
agree
the
to
veil,
disagree.
fool. That's his fucking man.
Agree to disagree.
Fuck off, Marcus.
What's
Fuck
crazy
off.
about Eric and what's good about me is that even when Eric's wrong, like I accept it. We're all human.
I'm not
Everybody
wrong.
has their chances to be wrong. And
How do
Eric,
I share my screen?
I let him be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Hail Mary, Titan being BlackRock, call what you want, man. It's cool. Like Eric, you can be wrong. We're
No,
humans.
no. This is not one of those. This
It's
is not
fine.
one of those instances.
It's fine. So my
This
rating
is
for the
not one of
episode,
those instances.
despite Eric being wrong about like everything leading up to the episode's end, my rating would be a 9.
Okay.
I would also give it a 9.
What's your rating, brother?
My rating?
Okay, Davon. Thank you for your rating.
Wait, what do you
Alex, what's your rating?
I give it like a 9 or. I'm so lost. My bad. I was spacing on.
The pod is falling apart.
It's falling apart.
That's why we
You
can't
can
do this
tell
shit
it's a
super
late
late, bro.
pod.
Yeah, it's a late pod.
Tell it's a late pod.
It's a
That's
late
my
pod,
fault. I
man.
apologize. What's your rating, bro?
I'd say. I don't know if I want to give it a 10, but I like I said, I love this episode from start to finish. Like almost everything about it, because like I said, it's just complete chaos, and we got a lot of carnage. I finally got the same feeling from like the first episode. Like I like seeing Omni Man in action. Finally, like just like decapitating brothers on the regular.
Brothers?
So that's cool.
Brothers, yeah, suckers.
You
Yeah.
mean niggas?
Oh my god.
Alex, I'm
Yeah.
gonna write you down for a 10.
All right, but yeah, I give it a 10. Yeah, fuck it, that's cool. By far the
Eric,
best.
what do you give this episode?
I would give this episode a 9.5
Okay.
for sure.
And why is that, Eric?
Honestly, I think it's because Mark didn't take enough L's this episode. He didn't get the chance. No, but really, I think it's because I just know what's to come. And
What's to come, Eric?
Jesus,
Spoiler.
he's coming back. Spoiler alert. Dude, the Bible has such spoilers in it, right? Telling us that Jesus was gonna come back. Like we could have figured that out like we could have just waited. How the
Hey,
Bible has so many spoilers.
You know who else comes back? The Immortal.
Who-
Coincidence?
You right.
What-
Like,
What y'all think?
you're onto something.
Think about that.
I mean, think about the parallel.
Davon,
They both
Peter Darkness.
they both come back from the dead.
Davon
There's
has
a lot
been
of
enveloped.
parallels. They both,
And that's the
Good.
pod.
and that's the pod. No, but for real,
Cue the
thank y'all
cute
for
kitty
listening
cutscene.
to
Oh my
another
God.
episode of the podcast formerly known as Tapped In. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're gonna come back with the finale,
Follow
the
me
eighth
at Omega
episode.
Marcussis, Instagram,
Omega
Twitter,
Marcus's
Omega Bazaar.
men's at looms at men's lubriderm at I
I
mean
want my
you don't-
money.
oh
How
my
on
God.
my money?
Yeah, stay tuned for next episode, the finale. We will see you there.
Real
Stay
quick,
tuned.
all feedback,
Tapped in
send your feedback to Omega Marcus at gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
Send your feedback to Eric Down Bad Andrews at
Oh my God.
AOL.org. I'm just reading it. I
Actually,
answer.
it's a Hotmail. All right, y'all. Peace. I've ended the recording.